I can have a voice sampled to know who's saying what afterwards while listening.
Introduce yourselves, please.
Yeah, okay.
This is Fawaz Shawaf. I'm the vocalist, lead vocalist for Creative Waste.
Okay. My name is Omar Zainal, and I'm the guitarist in Creative Waste. And I've been in Creative Waste for probably a year, or a little less than a year. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Aziz Al Bayat. I'm the bassist of Creative Waste. I joined the band since 2014 in May.
Okay. The first thing I'd like to say is, when I read that a band from Saudi Arabia is appearing here to play a show, it was like, it could have been a band from Mars going to play some punk rock here, because punk rock, grindcore in Saudi Arabia doesn't fit in my point of view.
I think it comes across that it's quite astonishing that a band from such a country with rules and regulations such as yours can play such extreme music. Could you tell us about that?
Well, I mean, it wasn't a mission from the beginning to have any message, or like when we first started, we were just young kids watching musicians on TV. It was like, yeah, we want to do that. We like what we're hearing. We want to make loud noises. And then as you grow up, this actually started in the U.S. I was like 14 years old or 13. I can't remember. It was year 8. We met our guitarist there originally. We were like founding members. We didn't play any instruments. We just said, we want to start a band. You're the guitarist. You're the drummer because you're the youngest, which is my brother. Yeah, that's it. And it's been done like that.
The total punk rock attitude. We don't know what we're doing, but we're gonna do it.
That's what we did. Yeah. We didn't even know.
Yeah.
And we returned back to Saudi, and our guitarist stayed in the U.S. And we stayed in touch by email. There were, back then the internet was 99. There was no YouTube or any of that social media. So somehow he came back to Saudi the year after, and somehow I didn't miss his call because he called at 3 a.m. and I don't know how you expect someone to answer, but I did somehow. If I missed that call, he said probably this wouldn't have happened. So anyway, I answered, and we got together, and we decided to just start music. And then we experimented with all types of genres as we grew up. As musicians, we just kept going through it, and then we just decided to stop in grindcore. I thought it was the least limiting out of all the genres for us. We can channel the aggression and the intensity of the music, which appealed to us first.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it wasn't out of the norm to have a message that we can voice some of the things we'd like to talk about.
Yeah, I'm quite interested in some of the things that you were talking about, because there was stuff to do with pollution and for all sorts, I noticed.
Yeah, well, each record was written at a certain time, and that was... that record was recorded 2007, and, Bush was in our recent memory, and not limited to, because there are people who are with him. So yeah, anyway, so Mind Pollution's propaganda and all those types, which are in every country. You cannot escape it. It's just more so in certain countries than others.
I think we could safely say that from your country, especially.
You can see.
Yeah. When you do your rehearsals, can you do it in Saudi Arabia or?
Yes, in rehearsals it's just personal. Anything that is done personally is not a problem.
So it's in privacy and.
Yeah, I mean, music is not really banned in Saudi. It's just more of a frowned upon thing, because you have like pop stars, you know, Arabic music pop stars such as someone named Hamad Abdul or whatever. So it's not.
Oh, I've got their last album, yeah.
I only like the demo.
Yeah, the first one was best.
So it's not at all uncommon for Arabic music. It's just that anything that's out of the norm is harder to digest, and it's always a vocal minority that actually causes trouble. So I'd like to think that, you know, for instance, there's music shops in Saudi. So how can music be illegal and you sell music, and you have any restaurant you go, there's usually TV, and there's some restaurants play music, but when certain people come in, they turn down the music or turn it off because they don't want to get in trouble. But it's like an unsaid rule. It's like an untold rule that you just somehow know. It's weird. You just know how far you can push and when not to push. And as long as, you know, you just don't make waves, you're fine.
Yeah, but do you not consider your band making waves with some of the things you're saying about the extremity of your music? Is that
let's just say whoever is looking for us will find us. It's just that.
Are you not afraid?
Well, you know, I mean, we talk about things that anyone would, you know, with a sense of justice or a sense of, you know, right or wrong would agree with. We don't have to limit it to names because, you know, at the end of the day, injustice is injustice, oppression is oppression, and discrimination is discrimination. I don't need to put a name on it. It's an ugly act, and I think, yeah, I mean, if we get people to focus more on the principles, it's more important. It's more important because, you know, if you get name calling, it might create a divide that they won't necessarily inspect. I think that, you know, because it's always us versus them, and usually it's me who's my first enemy. You know, that's like the first one, because no one thinks to point a finger at themselves. We're all ready to fault find in others.
I think that's a universal problem.
Yeah, well,
with everybody.
It starts with yourself. If you can't fix yourself, you can't fix anyone.
But I mean, the point I'm trying to understand or trying to make is that here and in England also, obviously I can speak more for that, is we're free to say what we want. Do you understand what I mean? We're free and we don't have any fear because what's the worst that could happen? Slap on the wrist, maybe a fine.
Yeah, I think there's always a way to say something. It's just there's a right place and a right time. But yeah, I mean, there are limitations. I can't deny that. Definitely, there are limitations. I mean, anyone who it's public knowledge. It's insane to deny it. I mean,
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Alan told me before that when you talked before the show that you told him that your family does not know what you're doing right now. Is that true?
No. My family?
I think it was the drummer who said that to me. So they know you play metal, but they don't know the message.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If you understand, yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, to be honest, I don't think it would matter much. We just, it's like I have to just explain stuff to them, you know. They're not that bothered. As far as they're concerned, it's all noise. It's just
I can't understand the words.
They're gonna support us. It's like, you know, whatever. You know. Like actually, that's kind of how it started with the band. My dad bought us our instruments thinking it was a joke. It's like it's just a phase. He thought we'd just grow out of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you know, who couldn't blame him? But it was a big gamble for him to buy us like a big, you know, a set when we had like zero knowledge. There are no teachers. There are no videos. There was no YouTube. So like, you know, to as far as we thought, the drummer said, "I don't need the kick drum. You don't need it." So something you don't need it. Like in the early stages, you don't need it. And we thought the hi hat, you just pressed on the hi hat. And our guitarist, he only played all songs on one string. And he flipped it because he was left-handed, and it's like he just needs the last string. And
you thought the things on the end were to hold the strings on or something.
It was just, I don't know how. we reached the point that we just didn't stop, and somehow we made, we made something out of it. It's just, yeah.
Can you play shows in Saudi Arabia or?
At one point we were playing shows. It was 2004, 2005, I think. 2005. Late 2004, I would say mid 2005, just to be safe. It was during times where Saudi was actually facing terrorist threats. There were actually certain places that were attacked. And we figured, because we went to Bahrain, we attended a few shows, our neighboring country, and we saw how it's done. Like, you know what, maybe we can do this. And thinking, the government has so much, that they have real issues they have to deal with. They don't have time for kids who just want to make noise, and they wouldn't, if they, and they did know what we were doing. They did. We're sure of it.
Yeah.
We started doing shows. We just didn't charge any money. It was for free, and we wouldn't bring in males and females in one place. We just didn't break any laws. So as far as laws,
that's the law. Yeah, of course it is.
So we just played a show. That's it. There's no money, so we don't need any regulations or licenses. So it's like a party. It was public. It was the first public show we did in Dammam. We have it on tape, actually.
How many people show up?
Actually, a lot of people did. I can't remember, but I would roughly say 50 or 70. It was like a really small space. Like one guy clearly stood out of the bunch, and we think, they were just making sure we're not.
He's a copper.
Yeah, they just saw it. It's like, no, he's just crazy fool screaming in a mic. I got better things to do. They just left.
What was the venue for this? It was a house?
It was what we call an istiraha. It was more like a private property, or it's like a ranch where they hold weddings or something like that, and they rent it out to people.
Outside of the city?
Yeah. Outside the city.
It's a little
so we can make noise.
Yeah, exactly.
And we do like a crazy, we would like fit in 4 bands in one night because, they were like the only bands. And then we did another show, and we discovered there were bands in Jeddah, other parts of Saudi. So we had like a really good community going on. Until 2006, we said, you know what, this is going well, let's take it up a notch. And we did it in a private compound. They lent us a place. We charged about 20 riyals, which would be around 2 euros, 5 euros, I don't know, at the door.
4 euros.
4 euros at the door.
4 or 5 euros.
Yeah, which is nothing. It's just we just wanted to break even because we had to pay the rent for the place. It went great. The show went great. Everything. And then all the bands that showed up, there were certain others that we didn't know about. They started doing the same. At this point, it was out of our hands. We stopped doing shows. They started going to Riyadh, which is like the heart of Saudi, which is even like no way. If we lived in Riyadh, I would not do it. I would have never done a show in Riyadh. So they started doing it, and then in Jeddah, and then there were stories of arrests. And then late 2008, we were asked to play that show, and I thought it was a crazy idea, and I said no.
It just got a bit too much interest.
They were charging too much, and you're definitely. I believe the main problem is when money is involved. I think that's even worse than breaking any other law. And they added money, like they were charging something crazy, like 160, 180 riyals, which was around what? How many euros? 80 euros, like festival prices, because there are no shows and people like
just want to go out
euros,
and do something, something new.
Yeah, they just like events.
Yeah.
Saudi is like events, any type of art. They're really into art. So anyway, the 2 organizers got arrested. One got deported and one got a year in jail. And after that, no one dared to do a show.
So the trick is to stay under the radar, to be not in the focus.
Yeah, but that's old news now. Now we have entertainment minister, and now people are starting to do. This is just very recent. They start host film screenings. They start doing art shows. I just heard about this recently. I have friends of mine who mentioned this. It's primarily in Riyadh and Jeddah that's being done. So I don't know if we'll have live shows yet. But from 2008 until 2017, we did not dare to do one single show after that. And we just focused. Our drummer just came of age. We started playing in the U.S. That was our first, as far as I know, the first Saudi band that made it overseas and played in New York. That was 2010. A good friend of ours named Brian, who was on a forum, is the one who invited us. We played there. We played Maryland Death Fest afterwards. Chirby of Obscene Extreme was there. He saw us. He invited us to play in Czech Republic. So from Obscene Extreme, we started playing Obscene Extreme America, and then Maryland Death Fest 2014, and now again we're back in Europe with a real full-blown tour. This is our fourth show, and still have about 9 more shows to go.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Do you sell your albums and CDs in Saudi Arabia, or?
Well, I mean, we'd sell them if
There's a demand.
There's not much you could, like, you really can't tour in the Middle East. It's like lots of border problems. The culture for live shows and bands, it's not really there. It's just either mainstream, well-established bands, or none at all. And how many shows can you play, really? It's like if you go in a country like the UAE, where can you play? Dubai, Abu Dhabi, that's it, you're done.
Yeah.
Your tour's over.
Exactly.
Where are you gonna go?
Yeah. Something that you said earlier on was about the males and females coming together. What is like that at concerts? Can that happen now?
Well, there was this Comic-Con, the first Saudi Comic-Con ever, and as far as I know, it was actually protected by the government. So it was a big change, something that never happened. A lot of people complain, but they can't do anything because the government's behind it. So you know, it works out sometimes.
When you say protected, do you mean like it was mixed? It was not
Yes, it was. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So this is like strange for
So
Saudi Arabia.
the religious police couldn't do anything. They've been stripping authority from them.
It's interesting you say the religious police.
That's how they present themselves.
I understand that,
Yeah.
but
It's actually like the actual translation, like what they call themselves, is like the Ministry of doing good and
evil also.
and forbidding evil.
Exactly.
That's what
translates into that.
Well, but simply we just call them religious police because it's easier.
Enforcing good.
Enforcing good,
and
yeah,
forbidding
that's a good way of putting it. That's
Yeah.
great, isn't it? Eh?
Yeah.
When I see you with your tattoos, is there any? Do you get any trouble having tattoos in Saudi Arabia?
Well, so far I didn't get any trouble, but people always find it weird.
Okay.
Like it's observable. They observe me whenever I go and they say, oh, there's a guy with a tattoo. And some people think I'm a foreigner. A lot of people think that I'm not a foreigner. So it works out for me.
But it's becoming more common. Tattoos, tattoos like especially
more people are.
Especially for areas like Qatif, whatever. It's like tattoos aren't actually banned. They're not forbidden.
But in certain places they are banned.
Yes.
Like in Riyadh or something.
Yeah, like in Riyadh was.
No, there's no official place
it's
that
not
does
a law.
tattoo.
Or
Not a law, but it's like in Riyadh, anything that's out of the norm immediately, automatically is.
Yeah.
You just assume. Just don't stand out. Don't be the nail that stands out. Yeah, just don't be the nail that stands out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'll be hammered.
I mean, I guess you must understand for us here, living in Europe, that also we hear all this shit on the news all the time, and all this stuff happening. That it's very strange to hear that you can't go to a party with females, you can't do these things. But it sounds like it's almost changing.
But to be quite frank, I mean, those are like honestly the least of our concerns.
I can believe that as well. Yeah, I'm sorry.
And not only that, I mean, plus there are lots of positives that the media deliberately decides not to talk about. You only hear the faults of a country.
This is always the way, of
Yeah, and
course.
so it's very dangerous because it gets people to assume certain things about someone before they even meet them. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's not the media, and the only way we can do it is just from traveling, going people. Is like the more you know about someone, the more you realize like the boundaries of the yes, there is a problem, but
Yes, I guess I'm trying to say, forgive my ignorance,
yeah, no,
but
no, no. It's
I
not.
I have no idea. Do you know what I mean? I don't know really what it's like, but
Because you're not exposed to it. You don't see anything that tells you like this is the way
It's
it
definitely
is.
not, and I never blame people because flip the table. If I was getting all my news from a certain source, I will have similar thoughts about the other side.
Exactly.
It's just
Yeah, I don't know. It's not even something that I particularly want to think. It's just obviously something that gets in.
It's everywhere. You can't avoid it.
Yeah, it's
You cannot
ingrained.
avoid it. It's in the movies. It's in the shows. It's like there are always poison pills. Like honestly, I can watch a Fox TV show, and like
If you want to.
it's just a TV show. It's not even like it's not supposed to be political. And
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
how loaded it is with like extremely racist, and like most of them are completely false anyway.
Yeah.
And they, I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
It's just the media, man. It's just
It's
the
just a
media.
lot,
How
a lot to
they
deal
put it,
with. But yes, there are problems. But then again, no country is perfect, as far as I know. We all have crap to deal with. We all have things to fix. And again, it's always accuse someone rather than fix yourself first. And
Lame game.
So
Of course, of
yeah,
course.
I mean, if we could, we just. Well, we can just hope for change, and hey, we can travel Europe, we can play. This is awesome for us, and as soon as Saudi is ready for us, hopefully soon we'll start doing that more in Saudi. We'll see.
and maybe host bands there.
That's even better. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be actually the first step to host bands because
Now that would be interesting
Yeah.
for a band from.
Maybe you can come.
I doubt anyone would come.
there are bands that have expressed like interest to play. They just they know.
Some bands really love playing in
They
strange
did, like-
places.
Some people like really want to play, but we really can't do it. Like if we could do it, we would bring them.
No, I understand. It's just. Thank you for the invite, but I don't know if I could shut my mouth. I might mysteriously disappear.
No, it's actually not. Yeah.
Let me add one thing. Actually, there are some shows that happen like in a private compound or.
Oh yeah, that's very
depending-
common actually.
Depending on the band that it's coming and the people who are or the sponsor who are bringing those bands. Recently, we had a famous band from America. What is it called? It came to play in Bahrain.
I forgot their name.
Burning.
They were an a cappella band.
No, not the a cappella. The other band.
I don't know.
Not the a cappella. The a cappella, yeah, they were touring around. And
So there are bands that get invited from American console. It's like we have some outlets. Just they have to. Like there are many people in Saudi that actually want to do more music. We have lots of love for arts and Bahndamm or whatever. It's just has a big resistance from the, let's say, the general. I don't know how to say it. The
mainstream.
layman, like lay people that.
Joe Public.
Yeah, it's just
yes.
public. They're just not used to it. And the funny thing is, they'll travel and they'll do everything, but when they come to Saudi, somehow now I have to wear a certain garb that I have to abide by certain rules.
It's like slaves to conformity.
Yeah.
That's what.
So yeah, it's not at all uncommon. Like we have like lots of American compounds, and they bring in bands from all over. They're not for Saudi people. it's like everyone inside, like they live in certain bubbles, and there's a lot that goes in Saudi that we don't even know that happens. We just hear stories.
There are some places that Saudis are not allowed to go. In Saudi.
Actually,
Yeah, that's the funny part.
yeah.
I know because I have foreigner friends like from Russia, from Lebanon. They told me they've been to these places. It's like private compounds, private beaches. They have even like alcohol and like a lot of everything there.
Yeah.
No Saudi is allowed to enter there.
When you talk about alcohol, and you all were raised in Saudi?
I was raised. Yeah, I was. Yeah, we're both.
Yeah. Do you still have any, for example, me and Alan sitting here drinking beer? Is that in any way, do you think, why are these guys always drinking beer?
Well, not really. I mean, honestly, like a beer is a lot more common than you think in Saudi. Like, no. I'm just saying.
I have no idea what's living in
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Like, didn't mean to come across like that. But I mean, all I'm trying to say is, like, that's why like beer is very common. Actually, most purchasers of beer in Bahrain are Saudis. If you go to Bahrain, like on the weekend, it's flooded with Saudis.
We love you guys.
like
Bahrain?
I don't know if it would be an exaggeration to say that Bahrain is like main let's say tourism is from Saudis.
You're not over exaggerating.
Yeah,
it's
like
not kidding.
It's like on the weekend I go there, all Saudi cars. It's like mine Saudi in Bahrain. It's and not to mention there are people who actually make wine in their house or whatever. It's just like.
But all of that is discreet. Like people, society still.
It's frowned upon, but
they know about it.
The thing is, when I'm 49 years old now, I'm old, but still I don't dare to tell my parents who are Catholic that I left church some years ago. I would not dare because they will not understand
They would not comprehend.
Yeah, they will like, why did you do it? You don't do it. I would not get any punishment for that, but they will not understand because in their
It's disrespectful.
yeah, their thinking is you just don't do it.
Yes.
And on the other hand, why I asked because I'm a teacher and I experienced that in the last 10, 15 years. The Muslim community here in Germany is just getting stronger, and the only words I knew in Arabic is wallah, yalla, and haram. That's all the words I know from my pupils. You see, some student says to me anything, or a girl is wearing a shorter skirt or something like that, and one of the girls goes, it's haram.
Yeah. Well, it's another thing that Muslims are also like very diverse, and everyone has their own interpretation also of Islam. Like in Islam there's like 5 major schools of thought, and people like somehow always forget to mention that they differ on certain issues, and even within those schools you have a normal person. Again, everyone has their own choice, and they choose to live by. They have their own justification, their own reasons. And that's why I talk like about differences. People will always be different. You can never ever. It's not even right to force someone to be like someone, because everyone's an individual. And the funny thing is, it's actually mentioned in the Quran that you cannot make people the same. That's the funny part. And you go to people, you got everyone trying to force people to be like others, and this is not exclusive to Saudis. This is everywhere in the world. Everywhere. Everyone has their own way of how the world should be. And if you're not like me, you're wrong. You shouldn't probably exist. So yeah.
Then you will go to hell.
The condemnation starts. If they can't condemn you, they might even resort to violence.
So yeah, I mean, I guess we hear a lot in the Western world, so to speak, about at the moment especially with Islam and Muslims and the ISIS bollocks. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's But it's no different from Christianity in a way, because I mean, there's so many different. We've got Catholic, we've got Protestant. They're fighting against it, or they have
Northern
been
Ireland.
fighting it. Yeah, back in the day, they were fighting each other against each other. And then you've got, with the Islam, you've got the Sunnis and the Shias, and all these different groups, and all disagreeing. When, in actual fact, I think all they want is the same end. This is what I don't understand.
Eventually, it's people's nature, I think.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I was just gonna say it's like I believe that most people, like you did definitely touch on something very important, but I believe that most people do the mistake of limiting it to a certain label, like as in just because you follow a certain thing, you'll behave a certain way. You wish it was that easy. It's not.
It's not. No.
It's not. It's like it's more than that. It's human psychology. It's human nature. And people with their nature, anything that has legitimacy, I guarantee you, if Islam did not have a legitimacy, no one would claim it. But everyone would want to claim anything that's legitimate. Hence, why you got Trump and Bush waging wars in the name of democracy.
Exactly.
Because it has legitimacy. No president can present themselves without saying peace, love, or whatever. And they're saying peace and they're dropping bombs. So it's the same all across.
Exactly. I mean, it's almost. I can liken it to the fact, where did all this shit start? It started with the Catholic Church on the Crusades, going to Jerusalem and saying, that's ours now. And that was, 3,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. And now it's just coming back. And
history just will keep repeating itself because...
until we learn.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think, you can minimize. I don't think you can ever obliterate. The only way is like to educate, to learn more about the other side. And this is, as long as people keep building walls and not understand each other, this will happen. Because that's how, you fall for the divide and conquer game. Because, you hear the story from this person, but you never heard it from him. And, you don't know this guy, but because he looks probably like you, or he comes from the same religion, or the same land, or whatever, I trust this guy automatically, even though this guy might be like a total devil, but, this guy who I don't know, I'm like, I should, this guy's the evil person because I don't know him. And then you go to speak to him, and you find out you're totally wrong, but, people...
Yeah.
Don't build walls, build bridges.
You're absolutely
Let's
right.
focus on the music again. Can you do you record your albums in Saudi, or where do you record it?
I mean, we don't have yes, I mean the first two records were recorded in Saudi. The third record the drums was recorded in the US with Kevin Talley from Dying Fetus, Misery Index. We've always been a big fan of his drumming, and he recorded 2 tracks on our record, Safe to Conformity, and then we thought, let's make it sound consistent. So we flew. He was in the U.S. already, so we decided that he goes to Kevin, and he recorded all the drums there, guitar, and all guitars were recorded in my place. Vocals were recorded in Bahrain, Studio 77, where we're currently recording our new album. So our new album is going to be recorded in Bahrain, which is, we consider our second country.
Okay, did you have studios in Saudi Arabia?
Yes, we do, but they're more geared toward Arabic music. But one of my friends recently opened his own studio. It's licensed. It's completely regulated. It's by the book. So
Sonic, right?
yeah. So it's you can have studios. Actually, a lot of what gets recorded and gets sold in Lebanon for like musicians sometimes is done in Saudi, and sometimes it's done in Lebanon. So yeah.
And how about getting stuff printed or onto CD or record? Is there?
You need like a license. It's like you need to know someone that knows someone. It's just like, yeah, but it can be done. It's not impossible.
I mean, is there, say, a company that you could write to in Saudi Arabia and say, can you...
There are printing places, and as long as you're just, I don't know, as long as like CD printing is regulated, you cannot. I don't know if it changed now, but I do know one of my friends that works in Virgin, and he did push us to release our CD. So I think that changed. So yeah, I think it's possible. It's possible. Yeah.
Okay, Alan, at the beginning of the video, you talked about your lyrics. I didn't really get that because I'm not a native speaker of English. What are you singing about?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Brilliant. Hey, welcome to the club.
I don't know which song to take. Yeah, I mean, like, let's say, I don't know, Divide and Conquer. Divide and Conquer. It was during a time where, during the Arab Spring, and people unnecessarily started turning against each other. Like, once they were united on the message, and suddenly they're like against each other. I think I don't think it's not limited to one place. It's like I see an event, and then it reminds me of so many events that happen throughout history. It's like, and I don't like to limit myself to just a time band or a certain event. I will use an event as an example. So let's say take Divide and Conquer
as a catalyst.
Yeah. So
it's where it starts from, but
it's not limited to that. So so for instance, I have like a song Detriment, because I have a line where I say, a world overrun by fools and the incompetent get to rule. I see this all the time. People just hear like, they don't verify what they hear in the news, and they spread it like the plague. And you have this spiral of misinformation, disinformation. It's like, and you don't know who to believe and what to believe. So what do? You either shut down, or you have to like work through the mess. And it's frustrating.
Dissect it.
Yeah. So I talk. Yeah. So like mainly I talk. I don't know. Like main messages like injustice, most forms of disinformation campaigns, propaganda. We have these demagogues, hate speech, warmongering, discrimination, all types of racism. Classism. I have a song called The Lowborn, which is about economic enslavement, cradle to grave, being exploited, and how you have like something more like the caste system, how the inferior should just shut up and follow like herds, even if you're being led by blind. But you're gonna have to jump off that cliff if they jump off of it. So yeah.
And did you talk about religion at all?
Well, religion is like, religion to me is a double-edged sword. You can use it in two ways. Like, I really don't think religion as a set thing, because there's so much diversity in religion. Like, when you say religion, according to who? Like, according to whose interpretation? According to whose? So if you're talking about those guys with the mask cutting people's heads off, I'm definitely against that. That's definitely insane. No one with half a brain would follow those idiots. It's mostly just, desperate people with no jobs, who are discontent with life, who are angry. They probably want to seek vengeance because they feel like they've been betrayed by this world. And then they try to find, if you give them a legitimate cause and tell them, you know what, you can do this legitimately for a good reason, and you know what, you'll go to heaven and all of that. It's like, I'm gonna kill myself anyway, and you give me that, and
you'll have 12 virgins in heaven.
That. Like,
oh, it's gone down since the last time I heard.
Yeah, it's like it's always out of context. You never hear the full story. You never have a full, and that's why it never gets solved. The problem will never leave, because a disease, if you cannot diagnose a disease properly, guess what? It'll never go away. That's why it's all every day. Nothing's working. Nothing's working every day, and the same problems, the same crap, nothing changes. Because they just treat the symptoms. They never treat the disease.
Yeah, and
they want it that way, I believe. That's what I believe.
No, yeah, I believe you're totally right. I mean, it's. I mean, this is the. Yeah, that's what they want.
Yeah. Because
then you can carry on.
They can't
yeah,
sell
it's
weapons.
just-
They can't invade lands. You know, they always need a scapegoat.
Yeah.
When I see all you guys are wearing these band shirts, can you get them in Saudi as well, or do you?
Well, now you can order everything online, so it's just you just roll the dice, and yeah, most of them you'll get the shirts in. It's not like a lot of things are changing, to be quite frank. I can get a lot of CDs.
And there's no problem when you order something from abroad that you can get trouble because you ordered something.
No, as long as it's not completely obscene or anything like
What is obscene?
I don't know, like if you get like I don't know,
Naked Girl or something.
like I don't know, any Cannibal Corpse cover probably will do it. That even get in Germany, like the Cannibal Corpse can't play.
Exactly.
Yeah, they can't play certain songs
Yes.
here. They can't.
No, they can.
Now they can,
Now
yeah.
they can too.
Yeah, okay. There you go.
And they're very sensitive
But
towards the cross.
How many years it took to
Somehow.
do that?
A long time.
The cross is like
I think the vampires are working there.
yeah, it's like they're vampires. No cross.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot. Like really, like I can talk forever because it's never in context. Like any issue I usually hear, it's always taken completely out of context. That's why you can never reach an agreement, or it never makes sense, and no one's satisfied with the answer because it's always out of context. You need more background information, and no one wants to do that because we're all lazy at the end.
I think that's a worldwide problem.
I believe so too. Yes.
But it's like even in England, in Germany, people will hear what they want to hear, but won't look any further.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that's yeah. I definitely agree with that.
It's just times you can open your mind, or you can just.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very uncomfortable feeling to know you have to correct yourself.
It's nasty.
Yeah,
It's a horrible feeling to have to admit you're wrong, but I think it's one of the biggest gifts you can have is when you can say, I'm wrong.
I agree.
I would love to
100%.
know more about this.
It takes true strength, to be quite frank, because it's very hard to humble yourself, especially if you're someone who's also big and you have followers. Like, can you imagine? Have you ever seen a politician say I lied? They'll never do that.
No, they say I was misunderstood, or I didn't quite have all the facts at the time. No, in actual fact, what you mean is I was full of shit. And
yeah, and then they do it again.
Yeah,
and again. And whatever.
Yeah, I think we all know where we're going with this one.
You just said you are from Bahrain.
Yes.
Is Bahrain different from Saudi?
Yeah, it is. It's very different in terms of, for example, the alcohol and all these things are all
More
okay and
liberal.
allowed. Yeah,
It's no problem.
it's no problem at all, and we can have events as well. We had a couple of metal shows. I was just telling Jan earlier today, we have the Scorpions come to Bahrain to play for the Formula 1 event.
Oh God, never mind.
We're going to do a cover of Scorpions.
Oh God. All right, I'm out of here.
So, and besides that, we do have like metal shows. We played with Creative Waste a couple of times. One of their first shows was in Bahrain, actually, which is the one he said in 2005 or four, I think. And yeah, we've been having some problems here and there with the shows because, again, as I said earlier, it's how the society doesn't really understand what metal is in terms of like the whole black outfit, long hair, and growling and that kind of stuff. So if they don't understand it, they just don't want to in the country at all. So it's getting better. Like by time we're getting events here and there, we're still performing. At least I would say maybe 3-4 events, maybe, or like around 3 on average metal events per year, which is not so bad actually. So we're sort of getting there.
Yeah.
And it's just our problem is the venues. Like this is when it comes to hosting metal shows in Bahrain. But in terms of other things, it's totally fine. We have one of the stores in a mall sells like CDs. You can get like black metal albums and death metal. That is totally fine.
Actually, we used to get our Kick the Story CDs and Dying Fetus CDs from Bahrain before we started ordering online, because there was a place in Sugliatim, I forgot what's the name.
Yeah, I remember that store.
I was
record store? Oh.
actually,
It's just like
I actually got a record. Like, I can't believe I found that record by Inhume. It made it there on that shelf. Like it's like a Dutch core grind band.
Yeah, I know, they played you.
Yeah. Every man played it.
Almost, yeah.
But yeah, and I think actually there's that same store I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They probably don't know what's going in like through the customs, because I mean I was surprised myself. How did this get on a shelf in this region? It was Marduk's "Fuck Me Jesus" EP, which was horrible. Like if you look at the artwork, like it's hiding like behind. Like, should I buy this and hide it from what should I do with this? So,
How am I going to explain myself when I get done?
So,
Mom, look what I put for.
so yeah, you
It was cheap.
get CDs, T-shirts. Well, people, as we said, they just order online. But if there were shops,
What is it with wearing them in public?
that's fine. It's fine.
I mean, do they? I guess probably a lot of metal bands, they can't read what it says anyway.
Exactly. But then again, as we said, like anything obscene, like a Cannibal Corpse. I mean, even if I were like a Cannibal Corpse hoodie, like I had one, I'll be honest, which was Butcher the Birth, and, and my wife hates it. She hates she's like, I can't believe you wear something like this. And right before the strip, I was looking for it and I can't find it. So. This is true. I'm not making this up.
I have experienced that as well, yeah.
So just like over here in Europe, I think anyone who wears like this kind of
We'll turn heads anyway.
like a Butcher the Birth or something like
Still get
you know,
trouble.
people will still look at you, and I mean I wouldn't blame them, because this is actually abnormal in terms of, you know, imagine like if it was back home in Bahrain, they might like look at you like in a weird way, but it's fine. Nobody's gonna come and talk to you or anything like that.
You're not going to get any hassle from the
That's
police
totally fine. But then you know your limits as well. I'm not gonna go like to somewhere like a family-oriented place with like a huge inverted cross and a pentagram and like walking. You know, I wouldn't do that. So
Shit, that's where I'll keep going wrong.
okay. Exactly. So you would know your limits as well.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So besides that, everything is all fine.
But I mean, that's just in Bahrain, yeah?
Yeah.
And in Saudi, would you have to tone it down even more?
I think it depends also where you are. Like in the Eastern Province, I would say it's more free. I don't know how it is in Riyadh now, but I think now you can get it's becoming more normal, because also the newer generation's heavily exposed to popular culture. Like most Saudis know so much about popular culture. They're as tuned or even more than people even from Europe or the US. They're just so it's, and their parents see it, they get used to it. So when they go out and they see, oh, he's just like my kid, so they're getting used to it. Yeah,
I guess
and
it's-
also because a lot of them go abroad and study, so and they come back, and that also helps.
And they've picked up Western ways, or I hate saying this Western ways, but you know what I'm.
Yeah,
I know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but it's just a nature of when you interact with I like something, I take it back. You like something, you take it back, which is completely normal. It's just how human beings interact, and I think it's beautiful.
Influence.
Yeah, you just told about metal events and bands. Do you see yourself as a metal band or as a punk band or just as a band?
I don't know. It's like that's the thing. We had to categorize ourselves. It's like because I have to explain. It's like, yes, I present ourselves as grindcore, but we have death metal influences as well. We have we have so many influences. It's hard to. So just to keep it simple, grindcore. That's it. But I listen to
Grind with the message.
Yeah. I mean that's how it should be, I guess. If it was, but hey, music's music, and yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think 50 minutes. It will be 3 or 4 pages.
Oh wow, you're gonna write this
Yeah.
down. Wow.
It will take me some days to transcribe it.
That's really cool.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
And you're going to go to Czech Republic now? Or?
Yes.
Obscene Extreme
Oh, okay.
Festival.
You're playing there or just?
No, we're playing there.
Yeah. And we're looking forward to it. I
I
mean,
bet.
playing shows non-stop, so we have to make the most of it because we won't be able to do that pretty soon. Just binge, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks a
well-
lot.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you actually. Where is this going to be published?
In Germany.
Gay Chat.
All right.
It's a very popular magazine over here.
No, it's called Ox Fanzine. It's a print magazine of about 10,000 copies sold in Germany and Austria and Switzerland. Yeah, and I think it will be in not in the next issue, but in one
Okay.
coming
The
next.
next one after.
That's pretty
Yes,
cool.
no, July, August, October. I think it will be released.
Mhm.
What I need is a band photo. Do you have one you can send me, or?
We're gonna take lots of pictures. I
Like
mean,
during these shows, so we'll get you one like on stage with like a band
As
or
you like it,
something.
yeah.
it's about time actually because we're like our most recent photo was 2011, I believe.
Yeah, with a different lineup as well. So now
Yeah.
me and Aziz are also like parts.
It's like
of
you
the
won't
band, so-
believe how hard it is to get these guys to get a picture. But okay.
No
Give
one
me my
would.
email address and you can send me a picture.
Yeah, of course. Why not?
All right. Cool.